Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to give you guys a walkthrough on my Toyota 4Runner. Now before I show you guys the truck, I wanted to tell you guys why I actually bought the Toyota 4Runner. I actually was looking for a Toyota Tacoma prior, and I wanted a crew cab that was full drive. And if you guys know anything about Tacomas, those things are like gold. And so everybody wanted an arm and a leg, and I wasn't willing to spend that much money for a high mileage vehicle. And I didn't really know anything about this truck at the time, and so I just settled for a 4Runner. But I'm actually glad that I did, because the 4Runner is actually a really good platform and it actually fits my lifestyle better. So let's go ahead and head to the front and I'll show you guys what I got. All right guys, we're up here at the front and you can see right away that I have an aftermarket front bumper. This is actually an ARB bumper for a first gen Tacoma, and I actually just modified it to fit, and it was relatively easy. You just got to do a little bit of cutting on the frame. And then down here I've got a Smitty built 9,500 pound with steel wires still here, and the only reason why I still have the steel cable is because I'm too cheap to buy the synthetic rope, and it still works and there's really no reason for me to upgrade. This here is a 24-inch light bar, I believe, and it's just a cheapo one that I bought from Amazon. I think it's made by Nylite. It has a spot and flood feature. Over here, you might not be able to see it very well, but I actually have Retrofit Headlights. The retrofits are actually just cheap $20 projectors that I bought on Amazon, and I just opened it up and spray painted it and made it work. I wasn't going to spend $300 or $400 on Morimotos. And then you can see here I spray painted the front grille as well black. And also here I have a front camera that goes with my stereo system that I'll show you in a little bit. I've also mounted some GoPro mounts on the top and right here in case I want to put some video footage. And then I got some D-rings for the bumper as well. That pretty much wraps up the front. All right, we're heading into the engine bay. I don't have much going on in here. Everything is pretty much bone stock, so not much to talk about other than this electrical system. If you guys checked out some of my other videos, I talk about this system. This is just a separate 100 amp circuit that I've fed into this Blue Sea system, and it basically powers all of my accessories. And so you can see the HIDs here, my LED bars, and my fridge, and all kinds of stuff. And then you can see here I did the big 3 upgrade on the battery, the ground, and then over there on the engine. And so that's a 4-gauge wire that I added just to give it a better connection. And then the battery is also the larger battery from an 0102. You can actually get a group 27 in here. The stock size is a group 24. So I just went ahead and upgraded to the group 27F. And so you can do that on pretty much any 4Runner. And if you guys are interested in learning more about this system and all the relays right here, you can check out my other video. I talk about how I did all of that in there, and you can do it for yourself as well. One other thing about my winch is I actually have the control box mounted right here, right behind the front grille. And I just put a piece of flat bar in here, and I just put it from the top to bottom and mounted the box to it. And the reason why I like it is because normally it goes on top of here, and I didn't like the look, and I wanted this light bar there. And so I just fabricated something that actually fits in here, and it's nice because you can actually open this and plug in the controller if you need to. I actually have a wireless controller for this Smitty built as well that I wired in, and you can actually see I drilled this hole right here and it's coming out right there. It's actually the wiring for the wireless controller. I'll show you guys that later on. All right, next up we're gonna go to the side, and you'll see I have 4X Innovation rock sliders. They're welded on. I have 5% window tint on the back. On the front, I don't have any window tint. I don't really want to get pulled over, but it would be nice to have some tint there for privacy in case I'm sleeping in the vehicle or something. And then on the windows, I have these visors, and they're pretty nice when it's raining. You can still crack the window and the rain won't get in. All right guys, moving on to the top, I have the roller rack cargo system up here. It also has the extension. I have it custom mounted on a Z channel that I made. If you're interested in that, check out some of my other videos. You can see here I have the Arb Awning. This is about 6 feet and it goes out about 8. And I also have a 40-inch light bar attached to the basket as well. And also up here on the roof, I have a rifle case. This one is a 52-inch, I believe. And the rifle case is just mounted on using U-bolts. Again, I got another video on this if you're interested in that as well. All right, you guys, moving on to tires and suspension. You can see here I'm running the KM3s by BF Goodrich. These are 285 75 17, which works out to be 34 inches. Not to be confused with 285 70 17. These are the bigger ones. I also have manual locking hubs up front here. These are from a Tacoma. I have the 231 millimeter Tundra brake upgrade back here that you can't really see that well. I've also got SPC upper control arms. And I'm also running a 3-inch lift with an OME 883 spring with a Bilstein 5100 shock. I also upgraded all the lower control arm bushings to white line bushings, and I also have extended sway bar end links from a 2nd gen 4Runner. Also, you can't see it, but this truck is fully locked. I have a Spartan front locker and a rear e-locker, and I'm running 4.3 gears. All right, you guys, we're in the rear here, and the suspension setup is pretty similar. I'm running 4Runner 5100s in the back, just like the front, and instead of OME, I'm actually using Land Cruiser 7.5 wraps and 8 wraps. And so I have the 8 wrap on the driver's side and the 7.5 wrap on the passenger side to help with the lean because of the gas tank. And that gives me about 4 inches of lift back here, and with all the added weight, it's probably around 3.5 inches, which gives me a pretty nice ride stance. All right, we're at the rear of the vehicle now, and you can see here I've got a custom CB antenna mount that I had a local shop fab up for me, Northside 4x4. I'm also running a hidden hitch 2-inch receiver, and really all that's for is for this D-ring hitch receiver, and also I tow my boat once in a while with this thing. The rear bumper is just a factory rear bumper, and it's been spray painted with Rust-Oleum bedliner spray paint. You can also see on top I have a rear LED light bar. Can't remember the exact size, I think it's 28 inches. It has the amber and the white light. It doesn't do the flickering. This is actually just a cheap Baja wannabe. I think it was like $80 on Amazon. And over here I have a Scotty fishing mount in case I'm near the water and I want to put my rod holder in there. And I also installed a rear camera that I'll show you guys later. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside now. All right, guys, back here we got a Dometic CFX40 refrigerator. Powers all the goodies and the sodas and the waters, keeps it all nice and cold. Here you can see I have my cargo system. This is a dual sliding cargo system. The drawer slides out independently from the top platform here. I'll show you guys that. So you can see here, this comes out all the way, makes it easier to get to your drinks. And also the drawer comes out as well if you wanted to. This dual sliding platform also converts into the sleeper platform. I bring an extension, I keep it in here, and I can fold down the seats and extend the entire platform so I can sleep in the back. And you can see here I keep that single platform with me at all times in case I need to sleep in the vehicle for whatever reason. It can probably sleep 2 to 3 people comfortably as long as you're under 6 feet tall. One other thing I have in here is this rear window actually slides down from inside as well, so I can control it with the switch right here. And this is useful if I'm actually sleeping in the back of the vehicle. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about this cargo system, but if you guys are interested in this video, I have a whole video talking about how I built this, as well as another video talking about all the features of it. Make sure you guys check it out here. All right, you guys, we're gonna head inside now, and you can see I've got all my switches in here. Again, for the front light bars, this is the one on the roof, this is the one that's on the bumper, these are the ones that are on the rear, this is my fog light, and then you can see my rear e-locker button right here. That's actually a retrofit that I did. This vehicle didn't come with an e-locker originally, and I went and found an e-locker at the junkyard and I put that one in. And luckily for me, my truck is from Canada, and for some reason it came with 4.3 gears. So I ended up only needing the rear differential. I didn't need the front, which was kind of nice. All right, you guys, we are inside the truck now, and you can see I've got a Pioneer deck here. This one is the AVH-2300 NEX. This one has the Apple CarPlay. I've also modified my cigarette lighter here to a USB port, so that way I can plug it into Apple CarPlay. You can also see I have a magnetic phone holder here. This is where I put my phone, and then I can plug in my phone and get Apple CarPlay. This Pioneer deck also powers that front camera you saw earlier. It has an input where you can change it so you can see what's in front of you. Up here I have a custom rear view mirror. It's made by Vantrue, and it actually records forward and backwards. So that camera you saw back there on the license plate is actually plugged into here. And then there's a front camera on the back here that records the forward motion. This is really nice because that rear camera is actually hooked up to my reverse. And when I put it in reverse, I can actually see what's behind me. Right down here, you can see I have a mid-length CB radio. This is what the antenna that you saw on the back hooks up to. You can see I don't have it plugged in right now. All of that stuff is in the glove box. You can see here I also have a ham radio. Here's that CB radio, and I can hook it up pretty easily if I'm on the trail. I also have that magnetic holder on the back, and so I can leave it right here so I can get to it really easily. And earlier I mentioned I had a wireless winch controller. This is where I keep it. And you can see here I can just hold it to power it on, go out and in. And so this remote has a little nice feature. You actually have to hold it to actually turn it on, so it doesn't actually go in and out on accident. Now you can't really see it, but I actually upgraded all the lighting in here to LEDs. And so up here on top, they're all white. All the gauge clusters are white, and the climate control is white. The shifter is white, and pretty much anything that has a little light bulb in it it's going to be white, including the dome right here. And then one last thing I have is this little antenna right here, and this actually is an antenna that powers my Python remote start alarm. This remote reaches pretty far, and I've been pretty impressed with it because I can turn on my vehicle, I can leave the AC on, and I can get in the vehicle when it's nice and cold. And so this alarm has been really nice for me. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps up the walk around on this Toyota 4Runner. I forgot to mention this is a 1999 Toyota 4Runner SR5. It's a V6 Automatic. And you're probably wondering now, what else am I going to be doing to this truck? There are still a few mods that I want to do, and most of them are related to these big old tires. So one thing I want to do is finish the clearance on this side. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that the windshield washer fluid is really close to hitting on this tire right here. It hasn't hit yet on a couple of the off-road trips that I've been on, but it is on my list of to-dos. Another thing is these wheels are a lot bigger and a lot heavier, and the 4Runner has been really sluggish ever since I put these on. And one thing that I'm considering is getting a supercharger for the engine, assuming that the price is right. There's no way I'm going to spend $3,500 on a supercharger, so if I can find one for, let's say, $1,500 or maybe $2,000 max, I might end up getting one. Another thing I noticed when off-roading is now in 4 high, the transmission light comes on, and most likely it has to do with these big old tires. I've never seen it come on before, and all of a sudden now it's on. And so most of the times when I'm off-roading now, I always leave it in 4 low, knowing that that's going to lower the temps. And so what I might end up doing is actually getting another radiator, because my radiator is an unknown age, and also putting a transmission cooler in line with a new radiator. I know most people run that transmission cooler externally to prevent the pink milkshake, but since I'm going to put a new radiator in, I'm going to run it in line to give it extra cooling power for the transmission fluid. One other thing I've been meaning to do is actually replacing the rear shocks. And so I mentioned that I have 4Runner Bilstein 5100s back there. They only extend about 2 inches over stock lift. And so what I want to do is replace them with Land Cruiser shocks so that way I can get more flex. One other thing I also need to do is to upgrade that rear brake line, because I know that once it starts flexing more, it's going to start extending that brake line some more. And so what I want to do is upgrade all of the rubber brake lines to stainless steel braided line, and I'm probably going to do that all at the same time, the front and the rear. One other thing that I need to do is to think about what I'm going to do with my spare tire situation. Right now I don't carry a full-size spare. I just have the stock 31-inch back there, and it's better than nothing, but I need to figure out what to do to carry a spare 34. So either I'm going to get a rear plate bumper, or I'm just going to get a hitch attached one. Right now I don't really want to spend a lot of money on a rear plate bumper with a tire carrier. Those things can run almost $3,000, which I think is kind of ridiculous. So I might just figure out something for a hitch receiver. That way I don't have to carry all that extra weight and make this thing even slower. One other thing I'm considering is actually getting a dual battery setup. One thing that I noticed is during the summer, that Dometic fridge that I have will completely drain the battery after 2 or 3 days. Well, it doesn't completely drain it. It'll actually shut off after 2 to 3 days to protect the battery from dying. I haven't really thought too much about it yet. Most of the times when I get home, I just plug it into the wall, and then when I'm out and about, I don't really stay out that long, and so it's not that big of a deal. I also have a portable solar panel system that I bring along with me sometimes, so that way I don't have to worry about it dying completely. And then another cool mod that I've been thinking about is actually getting a LED whip for the back there. So if you guys go off-roading at night or go camping at night, you'll know it gets really dark out there. So I've been thinking about getting one of those long whips that I can put in the back so that way I can light up the night. And then the last thing I'm considering, and this is probably not going to happen, and that is to get a rooftop tent for my roof basket. Now most likely I'm not going to get one because I don't really want to park my 4Runner outside. It's probably going to get stolen. But I am looking at some of those pop-up tents that are really low profile, and maybe one will be in my future. Well guys, that's pretty much everything about my 4Runner. If you guys have any questions about any of the mods, make sure you leave a comment down below. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. If you guys are interested in any of the products I mentioned, I'll try to do my best to link all of them in the video description so you guys can find them easier. If you guys know anybody that's selling a supercharger, let me know down in the description as well. I might consider it. And if you're interested in how to do some of these mods, I got a lot of videos on my channel, so make sure you check those out. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because all those mods that I just mentioned, they're going to go on this channel whenever I get to them. Well guys, hopefully you found this video helpful. I'll see you guys on the next one.